All systems are a go.
Hello, this is Matreus, and welcome back to Forza Horizon 3. Today we'll be taking a look at a new vehicle that was released for the game. As you can see here, it's quite the fantastic looking vehicle. It's from a little game called Final Fantasy 15. It's called the Regalia. Now, it comes under the listing under your My Cars after you downloaded it from the pause menu. It's found under Quartz. It's called the Quartz Regalia 723, or as you see in the next to the PI on the top left corner, 723 Quartz Regalia. Now I don't know which way it's supposed to be read or represented, but this is what we have here. Now this is a very interesting vehicle. It's an all-wheel drive front engine vehicle. Puts down 433 horsepower, 511 foot-pounds of torque, and tips the scale at 5,622 pounds, which is a bit different than what they were advertising it on the website. I've seen pictures. In fact, I'll put one up right now. It showed the car would come in at... they had the weight right, but the power isn't. It said it would have it had the 7.2 liter engine, correct, but it would put down 536 horsepower and 590 foot-pounds of torque. Now, I've played around with this vehicle a little bit. This is completely standard. This is as is. It's at the bottom of A class. It starts down there. You can when you upgrade it, it goes beyond those stats there. So I'm not too sure where they got their numbers from the website, but it wasn't accurate. But anyways, since we can upgrade, we can put it up at those stats or whatever. Now, what I want to do today is compare this vehicle standard compared to other luxury vehicles here in the game. Now, the two big ones that I think of are Rolls-Royce and Bentley. Now, the vehicles I want to look at, if I find them here, Bentley is the Continental GT Speed, which is interestingly at the top of A class. It has 617 horsepower, 590 foot-pounds of torque. And the Rolls-Royce here is 750 PI, 624 horsepower, 590 foot-pounds of torque. Now I want to compare these two vehicles to the Regalia. And the best place I think if we can do that is at the Meadow Circuit. It's at the top right corner of the map. It has fairly tight turns, short straights. It would show the acceleration, maybe not the top speed. I mean, these vehicles, they can go quickly, but they are in A class, so they're not going to go blazingly quick. But I want to take them around that track, see how they handle, and see how fast they handle on the straights. So, since we're hovering over the Rolls-Royce Wraith right now, we're going to hop into it and give it a try. And I'll see you over at the racetrack. And here we are at the Archway Meadows Circuit. I'm going to give it 5 laps here for the Rolls-Royce, the Bentley, and then the Quartz Regalia. So let's hit the road and see what times you can set up here. So I'm going to use similar rules that I've used for my other challenges I've done. So I'm going to do it all in first person. The only help I'm having is with the ABS. So I'm still looking for a controller that have stiffer triggers on them, so to more truly mimic what it'd be like to use pedals. Because right now the triggers on at least the basic Xbox 360 controller, they're way too easy to jam down to the full throttle. So if there's a mod out there somewhere that could give controllers a stiffer triggers, that would be, I think that'd be great for me anyways. We'll bit of drifting there around that turn there. Managed to gather it all back up again. As you probably have noticed with the Bentley and the Rolls Royce, again with custom paint job, because, well, I wasn't too impressed with the basic colors. And then, hey, if you're going to spend several $100,000 on a car, you'd want to get a custom paint job too. There we go. This car's handling pretty well here. I mean, it's all three of the vehicles we're going to be looking at are well over 1,000 pounds. So it'll be interesting to see how the Regalia, considering it's down on power, how it handles all that weight. Okay. Now this is our first flying lap with the Rolls Royce. It's the only car here in our comparison that is rear-wheel drive. It's not all-wheel drive like the Regalia or the Bentley is. Right, rounding the first turn again here. It's handling itself pretty well. I've had a little bit of practice with this vehicle beforehand just so that I can get used to the weight and everything, because we want to give these vehicles the best chance they can get, so. And considering that this boat of vehicle, it throws itself through the corners fairly well. Alright. Shift down, get in the power. Now the interesting thing with the Bentley and the Rolls Royce, it has a very unique power curve. In fact, I might show a picture here, is that the Rolls Royce and the Bentley have a flat power curve. When they hit a max RPM, it doesn't curve up anymore, at least that's standard. And as the Regalia has more of a natural curve like most of other vehicles in the game have. That goes up and moves back down again. If anything, I would say that the Rolls Royce and the Bentley have power curves more akin to diesel engines. At least like the twin turbo powered ones. Like the, well, maybe not diesel powered, but more like the SUVs, that they have a gigantic turbo lag, then they peg out and not exceed a certain amount, and they die off again after they hit close to their RPM limiter. Okay. A little bit of overcooked that turn a little bit. It's okay, managed to gather it back up again. I'm doing fairly smoothly here. Sometimes when I was practicing this thing, I was overcooking the turns a good bit, but managing to keep it all under wraps here. Yeah, that's, if you don't get that turn right, you're going a long way around. Alright, powering up the hill here. Gonna cut across. Turn here, heading towards the end. If I can hit this last apex correctly, I can get a good run towards the finish line and maybe set ourselves a decent time with this car. There we go. And nothing. Well, our best time with this vehicle is 53 seconds, .203. I'm going to write that down here. 203 for the rolls. Now we're going to move now onto the Bentley, and then finally that vehicle from Final Fantasy is the Regalia. So switch up vehicles, and I'll be back with you in here in just a second. Alright, and here we are ready to take the Bentley out for a little ride. So let's get this Rivals event started. Okay, pretty good off the line. That all-wheel drive definitely helps out with the launch. Definitely helps through the slower turns as well, as it lets us launch out of a slow turn fairly quickly. One thing you can definitely say about the Bentley and the Rolls-Royce, they really have an attention to detail with the interior. I'm not too sure what to think about the heads-up display though, both telling me the speed in a analog and digital. That seems a little redundant, but some people like to see the exact number. Okay, here we are. Setting our time 55 seconds. A little bit overcooked it there a little bit, but managed to catch it back up again. Alright. A little bit of damage to the roadway here, but doing alright. Through the chicane, here we go. Ah, very good, very good. Now we get a nice launch down towards the start-finish line. Now, as I was saying, since the I have mentioned here before, is that the oh good lord, I'm trying to recall if I mentioned this or not, but the power bands for both the Rolls-Royce and the Bentley, which is focusing so hard on the road here, I completely forget what I'm trying to say. The Bentley and Rolls-Royce have the same power band that they both hit a peak and level off, and then they dip down towards the end before it hits the limiter, which is, I'd say, is unique to these vehicles and some of the SUVs, such as the Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon. Most vehicles have a slow natural curve, but the point of I'm saying that is that I could shift early and not lose any power. Did a little bit better there. There we go. Got to put a little bit more focus on this. There we go. Get a nice launch down through the chicane. Good there. Oh, that felt pretty good there too. Alright, set ourselves a new time. Now we have to hit the brakes there at a proper point. There we go, much better. I think about 60, either 60 or 50, anywhere between 50 and 60 miles an hour is the speed that you want to aim for around that corner. Remember that was a big thing back in Gran Turismo 2. Said, you want to make a turn, go 60 miles an hour. At least that's what I got out of it. Of course, I played that game when I was like, I don't know, 12. Alright, here we go. Get a big run towards the finish line. Ah. Alright, well. Here's our finals time. Comes in at 51.778 seconds. Okay. 2-second time between the Rolls-Royce and this. And now it's the moment of truth to take a look at the Regalia. And here we are with the Quartz Regalia. Now, I don't know why they called it Quartz, as they were just labeling it as the Regalia. I don't know much about this car in the context of Final Fantasy 15, but I can tell you about it in the context of this game. It's very unique car design. The profile looks pretty good. The tires are crazy. I like the wire spokes, but I'm not... This is definitely designed by someone who's... kind of gives off something that's like someone's a little bit full of themselves. The back end looks pretty good. The only thing I'm not a big fan of is the front end. Those to me look like walking canes were stuck into the grill. If it had just a flat grill, I probably would be more of a fan of the design. But other than that, I think it looks pretty fine. Do a quick check of the stats here. 433 horsepower, 511 foot-pounds of torque. It's a little bit down on power, but it is all-wheel drive. Now if we go into the Forza Vista and pop her open, you can't find the engine. I don't know where the engine is on this car. I don't know if this is supposed to be the engine. I honestly have no idea where the engine is on this vehicle. It says it's under the hood, but there's nothing there. I mean, you got these things. Is this the engine? It's a very unusual design. I like how it opens up towards the center. I was expecting to see like the big old engine underneath there, but there's just luggage. You got suicide doors in the rear, so it's kind of reminds me of a Lincoln Continental. I mean, the interior doesn't look all that crazy. I mean, it looks very plausible. The marble accents are a little silly. I mean, but of course we're talking about probably a car that's probably in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, so those sort of accents are not out of place. Overall, I'd say this car is probably within the realms of reality. It's definitely a concept car look to it, though, with the front. Probably wouldn't pass driving laws here in the United States because they'd need a proper bumper and crumple zone and all that stuff. But just as simple as the fantasy part of it, I would say it looks real enough. It could probably be a real vehicle. And there's lowering the roof. One thing that I did see some people saying that you could drive it with the roof down. You can't. Here in game, it's either it's up all the time. But anyways, enough talking about the car itself. Let's take it down to the Meadow Circuit and see what times we can get with it. And here we are at the Meadow Circuit once again with the Quartz Regalia. Now, I did get to try driving around a little bit around the free roam. It's a very interesting vehicle. It has a very interesting engine sound. So let's hop in so you guys can hear it. You can hear the whistling of the supercharger. It's a centrifugal supercharger, which is the smaller of the superchargers, which is interesting. Yeah, the brakes are good enough. Yeah, a decent amount of turn-in, considering how large the vehicle is. Alright, and up and over the hill here. I'm not too sure what to think about the engine sound of this vehicle. I mean, it's growly. I don't know if this is the sound that it makes in Final Fantasy 15. I don't know if this is the sound that it makes as you're rumbling down the highways that are in game. But it's a very unique sound. It's like you hear the low rumble and the high-pitched whine of the supercharger. Now this has a as we saw, there's a bit of a different power band compared to the Bentley and the Rolls-Royce. It's a bit more of a natural curve. It's a bit of a slower curve. As I said, we can't really take a look at the engine because I don't have no idea where it is, to be honest with you. Again, fairly decent turn in. Not exactly sure. Oh, I just had a realization. I think that 762 or whatever the number is the year. Is that what they were trying to sell me there? Is that the year of the vehicle? Maybe. I don't know. But that's sort of a. Let me digress. So, back to the performance of the vehicle. I mean, we're definitely down on power. Setting 55s here. That's our fastest time we've set so far. See if we can find any time with this. I'm very impressed at how it's handling through the turns. I barely have to hit the brakes at all for it to make the turns. At least that first turn there, and it's not like I'm going 60, 70 miles an hour around that turn, and it's not immediately throwing me out wide. The look of the hood's a little bit dull. I mean, compared to the other ones. I mean, they had there's no hood ornament or anything like that. Do have a nice crease though in the center there. One thing I'd probably do with mine is I'll probably paint it like maybe a dark black. Really make the chrome pop a little bit more. Yeah, a bit of a darker color than the gray. Here we go, going on lap 4. 54 seconds, okay. Well, definitely finding some time here. Shifted down a little too much. Again, even though this is all-wheel drive, it's not suffering from understeer too much, which is always nice to see. Alright, cresting the hill here. Through the chicane, very well planted. I'm not exactly sure how far you can upgrade this vehicle. Be very interested to take a look at that, see what's the highest you can upgrade it. Okay, run down towards the start and finish line. Alright, we're on a final lap. Okay. See if we can find any time here at all. Again, it's handling through the turns very well. You would not think it is a massive vehicle, like as it is the several thousand pounds, very wide, very long vehicle. I've heard talk that they might be importing this vehicle into Forza Motorsport 7, which I would say, why not? I mean, you have the asset, and 2, you were more than happy to import the Rocket 69, which was from Fallout, and here we go, crossing the line, 53.2. All right, 53.208. Oh my gosh. 52, that time is literally a fraction of a second slower than the Rolls-Royce. And this vehicle's at the bottom of A-Class. I was contemplating maybe upgrading it if it didn't manage to get it in within close, but I don't think it really needs it. And with our final standings, the Bentley came in first at 51.778 seconds, the Rolls-Royce coming in second at 53.203 seconds, and the Regalia coming at 53.208 seconds. I'm very impressed with the Regalia here, coming in so close to the Rolls-Royce. less than a second away, and it's at the bottom of A class, so it's definitely showing some performance there. And as I was saying, just maybe a little bit of upgrading would make this really stand out amongst the luxury vehicles here available in the game. Now, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.